Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Gentin, my first question is for you, sir. At last week's hearing, I raised concerns with the administration's attempt to basically find a back door to abolish the Manufacturing Extension Partnership Program. And on top of that, on Friday, the Michigan High-Speed Internet Office heard from the Department of Commerce that they were terminating funding for their digital equity grant program. That's formula funding that has already been awarded to local communities and has already been spent by those communities in the state of Michigan. And basically what it does is it increases adoption of high-speed internet, raises awareness about cybersecurity, particularly for vulnerable groups like our seniors, digital skills workshop training, as well as educating consumers on online privacy, just to name a few. The federal government, in my view, and I think the view of the courts as well, can't promise funding to a community, then simply refuse to pay when the bill actually shows up. Both of these programs, the Manufacturing Extension Partnership and the Digital Equity Grant Program, are authorized and fully funded, clearly and very specifically by Congress. You've been nominated to fulfill the role of the top legal advisor to the Department of Commerce. So my question, I think, is fairly simple and straightforward. Without input from Congress, is it legal for the administration to simply cancel funding for authorized and fully appropriated programs put into law by the U.S. Congress?
Thank you very much, Senator. I'm not yet confirmed as General Counsel of the Department of Commerce, and I certainly recognize the importance of the issues you've raised and you raised in the prior hearing. I have not been involved in either advising or implementing the actions that you describe. I certainly would prioritize, if I'm honored to be confirmed, looking at those issues, looking into those issues, working with the relevant Bureau leadership and with counsel at the Department of Commerce.
Well, I understand, and I tried to highlight a little bit of issues, understood that you're not there now, so I fully appreciate that point. But this is basically just a legal question that if Congress has authorized funding by law, can the administration just say, sorry, we're not going to do it? Aren't they supposed to faithfully execute the laws of the United States of America?
Senator, I hear you loud and clear. I think if I am confirmed, I will make it a priority to look into those issues. I have not, as I say, advised on or been a part of implementing the actions that you describe.
Well, if confirmed, we will reach out and we'll have those conversations and hope you'd confirm or commit to doing that.
Thank you, Senator.
Mr. Fink, in 2022, before Pan Am Railroads or Railways became part of CSX, an FRA audit found, quote, significant safety issues are not receiving the serious and thoughtful consideration by railroad leadership at Pan Am's employees and the public deserve, end of quote. That was in 2022. I think you left shortly after there from the railroad as well. This was on top of court cases that occurred during your time at Pan Am that found, quote, again, a culture of intimidating employees. And that as of 2017, quote, 99% of injuries at Pan Am that were reportable to the FRA triggered formal charges against injured employees. So based on what I look at a very concerning record from these audits, I have a couple questions for you. First, do you accept the FRA's findings about Pan Am's railroad safety failings?
No, sir, I do not, and thank you for the question. The safety audit was done in 2022, and there were some issues that I took with it. First off, I would say there was a statement about our lack of a safety culture. We're the only railroad that's done 2 safety culture audits, I think, in the country. And we took the information that we got from that and we improved on our safety. So when they said we didn't have a safety culture, I just disagree, and that's just not true. We also work very closely with organized labor. I did 14 times per year, going out into the field, meeting with the people and finding out what the issues were that were out there, whether it would be walking issues or tripping hazards or situations with locomotives, and we would correct those things, or situations in the shop to try to make things safer. And that's where our employees came with their union representatives, and we talked about those things and made things better.
So if I may, so you have an audit that has a number of findings and recommendations. Do you believe if you get an audit like that, you should respect that audit and at least answer the audit and show exactly in a concrete way as to how you're addressing the findings?
Yes, sir. And our folks did do that and wrote a letter back to the FRA and was working with them all along on these issues. And the audit popped up because we had an awful, tragic accident with a 41-year employee, long-term employee that lost his life working for our company. And that triggered...
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
That triggered the audit. The audit went through a lot of different items, and I took exception to the lack of a safety culture. They came in, they looked at things. There was definitely some defects. It was a 49-page audit, and they came up after that with 2 violations.
But I want to say, I just in my remaining time here, do you accept that when an audit, you have to take it seriously? When an audit,
sir.
Because as you know, to have for the FRA, we can't have a culture where railroads say, oh, I got a bad audit, but I just disagree with everything there. Forget it. We cannot have that when it comes to safety. You heard my opening remarks. This is personal as well. We have people that are seriously injured and die. Safety has to be paramount. And someone who dismisses audits or thinks they're just unjustified on a regular basis, I have real concerns about. So please assure me and the committee that these audits are something that you will aggressively enforce when it comes to talking to the railroads.
Absolutely, sir. I did not want to lightly talk about that. I took exception with some of the items that were in the audit. I will definitely work on those. Safety is the first importance in the discharge of duty, and I will not waver from that at all as administrator.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr.